Hello everyone, welcome back. So after I got done recording the video yesterday, I started digging in the Angular folder and I found some little gems that I think I want to share with everyone. And they were buried deep, 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 deep down inside of, and now I gotta find them again. But they were buried like really deep down inside these folders, or were they in the, maybe they were in, I think they were in the source. So we'll go to GitHub and I was pulling off of my fork, my fork of Angular 2. But yeah, docs and then app and no, that's something else. Or was it tools? No. Oh, I gotta find it again. Modules. That was it. Modules, Angular 2, docs, core, and here were some like actual documentation talking about different. Obviously they're very unfinished. There's all sorts of like little to-do notes and hey, do this, do that. This one's pretty simple. Talks about string interpolation. Not anything that's new to us from Angular. There's a little bit, there's some of this. I don't know if that's correct. That's the thing. Like, we're looking at documentation that's technically not released. It's public, it's out there, we can find it, but it's technically not released. So it's very possible that that isn't valid anymore, or that that's not valid yet, or anything like that. That looks a little more valid, I guess. But yeah, so this one was pretty much, I didn't learn too much off of this. That they kind of talked about some of the different ways to do things. But the interesting one I found was, I believe it's this one. Aha, here we go. So now we actually see some things like decorator, selector. This is a CSS selector which triggers the decorator. Bind, a list which properties need to be bound. DOM element tooltip properties should be mapped to the directive text property. So it looks like I found some stuff that maybe will help us move along. So like text here matches text here, so tooltip would be the property. And this is a attribute of tooltip. So this might be how we do, and like a mouse over event. So I guess that's how you call like a show event. Yeah, there was all sorts of stuff in here. And then there's components, and of course the selector, and then bind, which these are the ones I'm really interested in. So title, open, and then that maps, I guess, to title and open. Title being a string and open being a boolean. Okay, great. And now like you can put a URL on templates. So I'll probably do that and get rid of my other syntax that I have. Then toggle this open not equal. Oh. So it looks like these are methods, I believe, that are on the object. So then there's a toggle, there's an open, and there's a close. And I guess they're not mapped as events themselves, but they're like things that you can call. So this was really cool. Like I started looking through some of this stuff and it started making sense. Viewport. Now this was the one that really got me excited when I saw this. Viewport is a directive which can control instantiation of child views, which are then inserted into the DOM. Examples are if and for each. This is what I was looking for. Remember when I was having issues with, well, how do I, how do I instantiate my child of my parent, right? And it looks like viewport is kind of how that's done. So it looks like you have a view container, and that view container, yeah, I still haven't figured that out, but we'll play with it. We'll figure it out, right? That's maybe you pass in the child object or something. I'm not sure yet. Only one viewport can be present per DOM template element. Viewport is created over the template element known as the view container. Viewport can insert child views into the view container. The child views show up as siblings of the viewport in the DOM. Very possible that this is what I was looking for. So like this may be the new transclusion. You know, as confusing as that was, those that do understand it would know what I'm talking about. That this may be the new way to inject things inside of other things, and that'll be really cool. Then there's like a little note on dependency injection and injecting services. So a service looks like in Angular 2 is just going to be a class, you know, whatever you want it to be, which is great. Awesome flexibility. You're able to do, you're really able to write your code the way you want to write it and don't have to worry about, oh, is it a provider, is it a factory, is it a service, or is it a value, or is it a constant? Like, what should this be? And so now it's just write a class, just write anything. And then it looks like component services, you inject it in. So this looks like the new dependency injection for services on your components. Great, that's absolutely wonderful. Directives, I guess, house. I can't remember. Class my app, class house, constructor my service. So it kind of looks like, I'm trying to piece this together, and it kind of looks, assume we have a template that needs to be configured with directives to be injected. So I guess this is a directive, and oh, this looks like a house attribute directive, and I guess it pulls in my service somehow. And it pulls, I guess it pulls in my service, and then the directives here in dependency injector will pull in house, very potentially. I'm not 100% sure, but just going off of this little example here, we can learn a lot. And they've got some nice notes on the side. They're very, very limited. Of course, they're not explaining. This is not, absolutely is not like definitely not complete or public ready or anything like that. But you know, it's out here. It's in GitHub. You know, I'm just trying to learn how this all works. How will this work? How does this work now? And then you know, obviously, we're going to see many changes as we go along. And it looks like they have a little example here. So assume the following DOM structure for my app HTML. So my app HTML looks like, and it's I guess that's the template that goes, oh yeah, so that's the template that's in here, and then they have the house attribute selector, and they're saying that the house attribute triggers the creation of the house directive. This is equivalent to new house injector.get my service. So they're kind of explaining how this all goes together, and it's definitely in like really high technical terms, but I think I understand what's going on, which is great. Then they're talking about injecting other directives, and they have some examples. It doesn't look like they have any text over here, but they've got, you know, you can at least see these things. You can see kind of what's going on, and maybe we can start playing with that. So, you know, this is cool. So, and then it looks like, you know, they've got some links to other pieces. So if you're looking for any sort of Angular documentation at the moment, this is where you'll look. And yeah, so basically I was just looking at Angular 2, docs, and then core, because I'm looking at the core docs. I did also look for the router. That's what I was really after. And I saw an issue where they have stated that they are not pulling in the router at this time. So I pretty much have confirmed that there is no router in Angular 2 at this time. So we're just going to have to continue faking it until the router actually is there. Then we can patch the router in, start putting this thing together, stuff like that. So viewport directive has nothing in it. That was going to be interesting, but I guess it's not. You can also see how long ago these were changed, and of course you can click on the diffs and you'll see like what did they add and who added it and stuff like that. So it looks like there's a little bit of Okay, so it looks like there's a little information. You can kind of pick some things together. So, compilation. Yeah, still very, very incomplete. Like, you're only going to find tiny little snippets of stuff. Putting it all together in Angular. Cool. Okay, so there's definitely there is some documentation that we could find. So my statement yesterday about there's no documentation whatsoever looks like if you dig hard enough, you can find something, but there's really not much. And I'm just trying to like pull in as much as I can. Here's a little chart on, I guess, how they're thinking that the dependency injection will kind of work, which is really cool. And a little example here of dependency injection and the injector, child injectors, and bindings and stuff like that. So, at inject, cool. So there's lots of little things. So, what was I going for? I was going to see if I could maybe try to add some of these. Where did I find them? Templates. Was it templates? No, it wasn't templates. It was directives. So decorators can be placed on any DOM element and can be combined with other directives. Components have an encapsulated view and can configure injectors. And viewport is responsible for adding or removing child views in a parent view. Example, for each and if. So I want a for each, right? Because that was our application's use case. Was we needed for each row, for each country in countries, we're going to loop around. So it looks like I need some of this stuff. So I need a viewport. So let's look at what the viewports look like. Viewports can only be placed on template elements or the shorthand version, which uses element template attribute. Okay. So only one viewport can be present per DOM template element. That makes sense. So I guess we need to create a template element. Oh, actually, first let's move some of this stuff because this is getting a little annoying. I'm going to create a templates folder. Templates. Okay, and then we will place our code for this one inside of, what are we going to call it? Table.html for now. Table.html. And we'll get rid of that. Paste that in. And now we can see it a little clearer. And it's going to be definitely a lot nicer to work with this. It's going to have the syntax highlighting. Table, row. Yeah, so that's where we were kind of confused. So I'm going to go ahead and comment that out. And that way at least we have a valid template. And then we need to move the other one out. So what I can do is, since I saw that example, I can change this to URL. And we'll set the URL equal to templates /table HTML. Okay, so cool. Now the next thing we need is we're going to pull this in there, and this is going to be, I guess we'll call it row.html for now. I'm not really feeling that clever with naming conventions today. HTML. Yeah, if I could tell you, how many times I've created a variable called something. Or elephant. I usually jump to elephant pretty quickly. Let's see. URL is templates row or /row HTML. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload this page and we'll see if does it pick up. Yes, we're at least getting our row. So that part of Angular in this is working. So we now know that at least in this version, URL does work, and it does what we think it does. Awesome. We're learning. So the next thing is Okay, so now this has been substantially reduced, which is really nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file called services, or folder. And inside of there, I'm going to paste my, let's see, we're going to call this countries dot js. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my, I believe I can set my editor to think of JavaScript in, where was that? Language and frameworks, JavaScript. Yeah, ECMAScript 6. And say okay, and it's going to give me this like warning. Oh, maybe it's not going to give me the warning. But potentially, hopefully, I will get some syntax highlighting because I really would like that. So we will refactor this to be called JS. And now we get some syntax highlighting. And of course, it doesn't know what these are because that's part of what used to be AtScript and what is now TypeScript. Yeah, that the whole build process is automatic. So these are just going to be underlined in red, but I'd rather have some sort of syntax highlighting than nothing. So we're going to go with that. So we will just, okay. And then app.es6 was the hello. Yeah, that was the hello, which we want to keep around just for reference for now, because I know that this worked, but you know, then again, I do have the other one. I don't know. I'll leave it for now. Get rid of the README. We have our index. Now, because I renamed things, though, we do need index.js here, and in our countries, we need countries.js. Cool. So now, what we need to do is, oh yeah, that's right, I wanted to create a service. So I'm going to create what I'm assuming is going to be a service now. So we'll call this countries service, or whatever you want to call it, now that you can call it anything you want. So country service, and then I'm going to create a model called country for now. And a country constructor. And I may actually put a whole bunch of parameters on the constructor. I'm not sure. So country service is, and we'll say, let's see, constructor, and that will, let's see, now, countries. So country row. I'm going to take this JSON. We're going to move that over, I think, at the moment. And so I take that, place that in here, country, countries is a country array. I don't know, is that valid? I know that's valid TypeScript. Maybe it's not valid. Can I do an array of country like this? No. Okay. Well, when we get to TypeScript, we'll be able to do that. So countries. Well, I guess that could just be an array, right? No, can't be an array. What about that? No, doesn't like that either. Okay. Well, ES6 is interesting. Let's see. So, so we'll do this countries dot push or well, this dot countries equals an array, and then we're going to push on basically our new country, and we can just do that for now. And then we can switch it to a different syntax later. So we're essentially going to take the same constructor from down here, and new country, and paste this in here. Awesome. Okay, so now that we have that, I want to flip back over to the documentation where I saw the dependency injection. Dependency injection is not there. It's where here. Services. So this is the thing I wanted to go for. So we're going to take component services and we're going to throw it on I believe our main component. So that's our country table component. And so that goes on the component. We do component services, and we're going to pull in, because we're in import or ES6, we need to import, what was it? Country service from services slash countries.js, or I think I can do just countries. Cool. So now we should have module loading, hopefully, and so now we can do country service. Cool. Cool. So that should potentially pull in the country's service, which we can then use in here, right? I guess. And we'll call it countries is of type countries service. And let's see, what am I going to do here? For now, I'm just going to do this dot countries. Wait, no. I just declare it countries, and this dot countries equals countries service. No, countries dot okay. I'm doing terrible naming of everything because that's what I want, but whatever. We'll look past that because yeah. Don't laugh at me. All right, so next, injecting other directives. No, now I needed to figure out this viewport thing, right? So template. So I think, viewports can only be placed on template elements or the shorthand version which uses. So viewport selector if bind. Which element template? Only one viewport can be present for DOM. Examples are if and for each. So I guess we'll do, I think I need this. So at somewhere, I don't know where, but somewhere in here, I'm going to declare a viewport. So I'm going to do viewport, and we're going to do that. And then I'm going to do selector, and here's where I don't know, but I'm going to try doing star for each here. And then we will bind condition, set condition, Okay, so bind I'm going to call it iterator. ITERATOR. To I don't know. For each? I don't know. I'm not really sure what to do here. Which is what we're all saying. So they did an export class. Oh, I think I remember that. I need to export this class. Types are not included in the E6 proposal. Yeah, I know. Okay, so export class for each. I don't know. I'm completely making this up. I wouldn't think that I would need to do this, but we'll go with it. View container of type view container and view of type view, and we'll pass in a constructor view container and this dot view container equals the passed in view container, and this dot view equals null. Okay. Set condition value. Okay, this is gonna be different because this kind of makes sense if you're basically passing the value of whatever's on the attribute if, and you're passing that into condition, right? So this will either be true or false when it resolves. So if it's true, then do this. If it's false, then do this. That makes sense. But it doesn't make sense for an iterator because there's that other syntax where we write the shorthand that does whatever. And I don't know how I'm gonna get that stuff. So I need an example of an Angular 2 for each composition. No. Okay. Formatters, decorator directive, viewport. Oh, that's right. They're like blank. Lifecycle services. Nothing. Nope. No services. Templates. Maybe there was a little gem in here or something about the other way that. Let's see. I'm looking for, because I remember them showing in template for each person in people I index. Template microsyntax. Oftentimes it's necessary to encode a lot of different bindings into a template to control how the instantiation of the template occurs. One such example is for each. Okay. Well, this clears up the template thing. So, great. Awesome. So let's throw that in our thing. Like, let's not even wait to try to figure out too much of it. Let's just throw it in here because, it's all trial by error, right? So for each country in equals countries I equals index. Cool. And I don't really need the I guess. Let me try taking that off, because I'm not going to do anything with it, so it's not a guarantee that it's actually going to work. For each triggers the for each directive. Cool. In people binds to an iterable object, binds an iterable object to the for each controller. Li template. Okay, yeah, li template equals blah. Template for each country in countries. I don't know if I want this. Because now it does actually have a property countries. So that might be mapping correctly automatically. So person exports the implicit for each item, right? In people. Let's see if I even have to do anything. I guess we'll just, inside here, we'll just do country.name, right? Of course, it's not going to look anywhere near right when we actually hit the, well, maybe I should do something, you know, just put a little row in there, right? And, I guess make it a cell as well. And fire it up, right? Give it a shot. What can go wrong? Nothing can go wrong, right? Nope, we're gonna get errors, I'm sure. Errors. Error loading services countries at unknown error loading services country from app. Cannot read property replace of undefined. Okay. Services / countries at unknown. Okay, what do I do? I exported the class. Country. So I mean, it looks like it tried to do something, and no, maybe that's up here. Yeah, I think we're still just hitting. We're not actually getting to Angular yet. Okay, services / countries at unknown. Well, Angular2 / Angular2.js, Angular2 / Angular2, and they left off the .js. Makes sense. So I should be able to do the same thing, right? Do I need this? Error loading services countries at unknown. Alright, what's in my HTML here? It's really just ESHIM. Okay. This is probably it. I probably need to define the path. So services star maps to services star.js. Okay. Figuring this out piece by piece. Okay, let me try again without these brackets. I don't think that's needed unless you have multiples. Okay, we didn't get that error. We got country service is not defined. A little better, I guess, maybe. Reference here. Country's service is not defined. Country service. Except it is defined, but I guess it's not defined. I don't know. Country service, okay. Helps if you spell things right. Error during instantiation of token, app component annotated type, original error, reference error, country service, country service. Countries service. That looks like it tried to do something with that. That's cool. Cannot resolve all parameters for country table component. No annotation error. Cannot resolve all parameters for country table component. What else does this give me? Not much. Cannot resolve all parameters for country table component. Maybe I need to set a bind. Alright, okay, so bind. Countries. Yeah, since we have a property down here, maybe we need a property up here. Error loading app at unexpected token component services. Aha. Okay. Cannot resolve all parameters for country table component. Parameters. This is a parameter, right? Countries. Serve. Component bind. Well, maybe I need to do quotes around this as well. You never know. And nope, no annotation error. Country table component, country service. Alright, I'll back over to the docs, I guess. Take a look at stuff. So which one was the doc? Directives. Selector. Bind. Okay. Okay, components, bind, blah 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 blah. Template. Yep. Bop. Viewport, still working on that. View container, dependency injection, injecting services. Selector my app, component services my service. I guess, do you need a directive to pull in? Maybe you can't dependency inject directly into. How to inject my service into house directive. Child sets, field primary. Hmm. Template directives. Notice that in the constructor we can simply ask for my service. It's a directive which we like to. So we have a template that's configured with directives to be injected. Assume top level application component which configures the services to be injected. Assume a service which needs to be injected into directive. Okay, maybe, I don't know. Let's give this. Okay. Well, what if we try the example they have here? Here. So they say directives, right? Directives, and we're gonna call the directive country. No, that's terrible. How about just table? Or list tape. I don't know. We'll go with that. I just need something that's unique. Okay. Well, they have my app, which I'm actually kind of. I wonder if I should do that instead. So we'll create a component. And a template. And we'll give it a selector of my app, like they have. Selector my app. And we'll pass the component services. Okay. Then we'll do, I guess we can pass it the URL of what was it? Templates, templates, table, HTML. And directives being now we can basically do country table, right? So country table. Okay, and then we give it a class called my app. Okay, and now we create a decorator instead of most of this stuff, I guess. Decorator. Selector. Country table. And that needs to be a string. And then we'll just call this country table now, and constructor countries country service. So how about we just say service dot service. Okay, that's a little better. And what else do we need to do if we're attempting to try this? I need to change the table.html. So instead of being, countries HTML. So instead of country table, I guess I'm gonna do table country table. And then in my table HTML, I can remove that since I now have an element for that. I'll just leave that sloppy for the moment. And I think everything's lining up now, at least with the example. I have no idea. I'm just making stuff up. No, country table component is, oh yeah, country table component is not confined or defined. What's looking for it? Country table component services selector country table F country table component. Aha! Can't bootstrap something that doesn't exist. Country table. No, I want to bootstrap my app. That's right, my app. Boom. Okay. Close out these, refresh, and we get... countries not defined. Okay. Error during instantiation of token and... Okay, where is... country? Country. What, did it make it down here? That'd be awesome. Country row. Countries HTML. Let's I don't know where else has a country, so it had to have come from here. Comment that out for the moment. Refresh. Country is not defined. What's trying to use country? I'm confused. Directives. Directives country. Okay. Maybe that's it. Maybe that is it. Country table is directives country table. Okay. Maybe that helps. My app did not match any elements. You're right, it does not. My app. So really, my app. So I guess I do need a table element. We keep going back and forth, but for obvious reasons. Okay, and we put in a table here, table. And then we can close the table. Cool. Refresh. Decorator is not defined. Decorator is not defined. Decorator is not defined. Only decorator I have is this one. Country table. Is country table anywhere? It should be, where would it be? It would, countries HTML, it's right here, country table. And it says it's not defined, so, country table is the directive, decorator, okay, well, you know, it just may not work, to be honest. It's very possible that it's just, no matter what amount of messing around I'm going to do, it's not really going to work. But you know what? I am not giving up. I am just putting it to rest for the moment. So I will continue with this, don't you worry. And, my goal is to get a working Angular 2 app in some way, in some fashion, and figure this stuff out. And yeah, so I will see you guys next time.